I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. I guess by now everybody heard the news that Puff Daddy was arrested last night in a hotel room here in New York City. And the indictment was handed down last night, and it was read by Damian Williams, who's the Southern District Attorney for the Southern District here in New York. And on 3 counts, racketeering, sex trafficking, and possession of a weapon. And that seems to me to probably just enough to get the district attorney started in terms of detaining Puff Daddy. But it's a dark day for him. He didn't have a good night, and I suppose he hasn't had a good month or a good few months since the raid on his house back in March of this year, both in his Los Angeles mansion and his Florida, Miami mansion as well. So Puff Daddy has been arrested, and the charges that they're leveling against him, they are heinous. They are painting him as this barbaric, this person who beats, kicks, drags, spits, dopes, sex, offenses, everything you can possibly name. In the book of Ugly, Puff Daddy has done it. And so I was curious as to when the indictment would be dropped and when he would be arrested. And not only, they feel that Puff Daddy is not only a flight risk, but I understand that the district attorney for Southern District of New York is filing a detainee letter indicating to the judge, and I don't know who the judge is going to be, we don't know as of yet, that Puff Daddy be held without bail, that he's not allowed to post bail. And the attorney for the Southern District gave a lengthy report this morning regarding the charges and the foundation of those charges and the work that was done by his staff to gather all this evidence and the raids that were done on both his homes, the videos that they picked up, obviously they got a slew of videos where Puff Daddy would either have these freak-outs or freak-offs, and he would film people having sex workers, male sex workers, female sex workers, with a lot of other people, and all of that they were able to confiscate when they raided his home. And I suppose will be used as evidence in addition to 3 AR-15s. I think they were disassembled, and that the serial number on them had been obliterated, but there were loads of ammunition found in his bedroom as well. And the other thing I thought fascinating, this one took me back a loop, that Puff Daddy, for whatever reason, his freak-offs or in his sexual practices, use baby oil. I don't want to get into, the details or get down in the weeds of it, but this is the absolute truth. The district attorney for the Southern District said they confiscated over 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Are you kidding me? 1,000 bottles of baby oil? And I don't want to talk about what they use it for. Use your own imagination on that one. But videos and drugs and a whole bunch of other stuff that they were able to confiscate in this boy's house. And the thing I thought also was interesting that they had confiscated 1,000 bottles of baby oil was that they showed that the district attorney said that the investigation was ongoing, that it wasn't closed, that they were still investigating Puff Daddy and perhaps others as well. And then they made mention of the fact that he was given the key to the city of New York last year by Mayor Eric Adams, and I think right there in Times Square. So I said, well, why would they mention that? Unless Eric Adams is also under investigation as one of the freak-offs. And if that is the case, which it very well may be, Eric Adams and Puff Daddy were tighter than 2 peas in a pod, or tighter than sex workers in a hotel room in Miami, Florida, or Los Angeles, California, or right here in New York City. So it's curious as to whether or not Eric and Damian Williams, who didn't have to make mention of the 1,000 bottles of baby oil. Okay. No, neither did he have to make mention of the fact that Eric Adams gave Puff Daddy the key to the city. So, not Puff Daddy, but Damian Williams said that nothing has been taken off the table. The investigation is ongoing. But they painted Puff Daddy as to who he is as this barbaric, if you will, this monstrosity of an individual. And someone stated in the conference and asking questions of the district attorney for the Southern District, are there other people, high-profile people along those lines, that perhaps are under investigation? And they intimated that perhaps people have been cooperating with the Southern District who have participated in these freak-offs, and rather than being arrested, they have gone ahead and cooperated to get a lighter sentence or whatever. So this is going to get uglier than Lamont Monroe or Aunt Esther or Fred Sanford. This is going to get ugly. And one of the persons that we know that was tied up in this back in December before the raids on Puff Daddy's houses was T.D. Jakes. Jakes and Puff were tight, like, Puff and Eric Adams. Puff Daddy had all this money. He became a billionaire, actually listed as a billionaire on the billionaires list back in 2022. And he had all this influence and contact with people like T.D. Jakes, big-time preacher, Eric Adams, big-time mayor of the city of New York. And they participated in these freak-offs. And listen, T.D. Jakes all but admitted he had gone to a freak-off, had been to Puff Daddy's birthday party. And he admitted that on the stage of his church back last year in the Christmas celebration. So if his name, or if they got filmed, imagine this, they got video film. The Southern District of New York, and there's several women that are leading this investigation, that actually have video of Puff Daddy naked as a jaybird having sex with Puff Daddy or Cassandra Ventura or whoever. This can get awfully ugly and awfully embarrassing. And probably the same thing with Mayor Eric Adams as well. We haven't heard the last of this. And I think that one of the reasons why they're going to write a letter of detention that they do not let Puff Daddy make bail is because there are probably so many people that Puff Daddy, and people probably felt safe. This Puff Daddy, he got money, he's a music mogul, he got contact, he's got contact with politicians, he got contact with the media, and, he got contact with Obama. Obama might be in that freak-off thing. This thing could get very, very defining of all the people that Puff Daddy hung out with. And people probably felt safe. I'll go and take off all my clothes and have sex with young girls, have sex with old men, have sex with, sex workers. That he actually flew people in internationally, sex workers, who were sex workers from across the pond to come in. So, I mean, he was tight with Al Sharpton. This is going to be very interesting how they handle this, because we know that these persons, Al Sharpton, Obama, T.D. Jakes, Eric Adams, and probably a bunch of other people have been in Puff Daddy's bedroom with Puff Daddy's, and mainly what they focus on, a lot of homosexual sex. And I guess that would be the reason why you would need the lubricant of baby oil. And I don't want to go down that road very far about talking about lubricants, but 1,000, not one bottle, not 2 bottles, not 10 bottles. The FBI found 1,000 bottles of baby oil. I mean, my God, that's a whole lot of lubrication. I think Damian Williams, who's the Southern District Attorney, threw that in just to get our interest up. 1,000 bottles of baby oil? And, of course, they got the picture of him dragging and kicking and beating Casa Ventura there in that hotel room hallway there in Los Angeles going back a couple of years ago. She sued him, and he immediately settled, paid her several $1 million, but that didn't end his problems. He got several other lawsuits against him as well. So I think that's the end of him. But Pastor Man, are you gloating? I don't like these people. Let me just be upfront about it. I don't like them. I don't like rap artists. I think they're the vilest people on the planet. And, well, maybe not yeah, okay, anybody want to show somebody viler than rap artists? And I think they all do the same thing. Now, I have to tell you, this whole business of entertainers having these freakouts, or whatever it is they call it, is not new. It's nothing new. I mean, Little Richard did it, and a whole lot of other people. They've done it for years, these musicians, because they figure they own the world. All they do is make music that have no philosophical, moral, if you will, concerns. They just make music, people buy it, worship them because of their music making, and the world goes ahead and allows them to be worshiped as stars. So he's not the first one that has done this, and I suppose there are others. But what we're going to find out is that probably, and there are a lot of people that were tied up in this. Eric Adams has got problems aside from this. If Eric Adams is on film, and I'm not saying that I know that he is, all I know there's a high potential that Eric Adams is on film having sex with another man. There's a high potential that T.D. Jakes is on film, because what the attorney for the Southern District claimed and alleged was that Puff Daddy would have these men have sex with men and then would use the video of it either to coerce them or to blackmail them or to make them do other things as well. For instance, if Puff Daddy got T.D. Jakes, and I don't know that he has. I don't know. All I know is that Jakes was at his parties. But if, let's say, for instance, and hypothetically, that Puff Daddy has a picture of T.D. Jakes having sex with another man, and Jakes felt safe at the time he did it. He thought Puff Daddy nobody would film this, but he had films in all of his rooms, cameras that you couldn't see. And Jakes was on film. So he wants Jakes to show up at his party. If he's having an event, he wants Jakes to be there. You know, people like Tyler Perry, if he wants them to be there, or even Oprah Winfrey. We don't know how far this is going to go. I can tell you, this is going to go a whole lot longer and deeper than most of us have imagined, because these people felt that they could get away with anything, that they had money, they had influence, you know, they wanted to have sex, and they wanted to have homosexual sex, and so they thought they could get away with it. They didn't know that Puff Daddy was a racketeering guy, that they hit him with the RICO statute, that he used his empire, his business, and there are a lot of other people, like, you know, young people that, young artists that were, you know, that wanted to get started in the music business, and they had to have sex with Puff Daddy. So this thing could probably blow up like the A-bomb during, you know, being dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima, going back under the Truman administration. 1,000 bottles of baby oil. And the other thing is that, which I think some psychologists are going to have to weigh in on this, I really believe that this video of Adams, Eric Adams having sex with other men, T.D. Jakes having sex with other men, Obama having sex with other men, Al Sharpton having sex with other men, and then a bunch of other people that having sex with women and men and whatever. And they said that these freak-offs will go on for days. I mean, it wasn't like you'd have a night, 12 o'clock at night, everybody take off their clothes and have sex, and, you know, crawl around in the dark, having sex with whatever you can do. You found breathing or moving. But it will go on for days. I guess they get up, somebody serve breakfast, the workers will come in. I don't know what they do, serve them more drugs, more alcohol. And then the freak off, the T.D. Jakes were away from his house for days. While this hold has been, so he was hit with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, and coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. This boy's a sicko. But he's not the only one. No, he's not the only one. The thing of it is that is Obama involved in this? And, you know, Jeffrey Epstein, and, you know, who had all these people from, you know, Prince, from the Duke of England, and a bunch of other people, Bill Gates, and a bunch of highfalutin people, but they were able to excise themselves outside of Jeffrey Epstein when the charges went down. So Obama and Jakes, I don't know, might be able to excise themselves out, but I can guarantee you, if Obama knew that there was homosexual sex going on with Puff Daddy, and he could go to his freak off, that he was there. Whether it's video of him or not, Mr. Pastor, man, you're concocting stuff because you don't like these people. I don't. I think they are a disgrace. And what has happened to black people, now they're Hamites, and I'll get to that a little bit later on, is unspeakable. And then this rap music was never anything intended to be music, to be worshipped or music, but they made billions of dollars doing it, and it's been promoted by a whole lot of other folk. Harvey Weinstein is back on trial now. He was a promoter and producer, same thing. So this wilding, this sexual practices done by these people is not anything new. Let's wait and see whether or not Eric Adams is involved in this. If so, as you know, I'm considering running for the office of mayor of the city of New York in the 2025 elections season. The election will be held in November of the year 2025. And I am seriously considering. I have not had a word from the Lord regarding yay or nay, but I'm considering. And I may find myself running against Eric Adams. Or some person other than Adams, and Adams may have to drop out of the race or resign. I'm going to cover him in just a few moments. I'll take a break and I'll come back. But I am considering running for mayor of the city of New York. And I believe that I could be a good mayor. I think one of the reasons why all this is going on is because we'd have such corruption among the politicians. You get a person like me at the head of the administrative end of the city as large and well known as New York. Should I begin to sit down in the mayor's office at Gracie Mansion, a person like myself, well, a lot of this stuff that goes on will be unearthed. And obviously, I would do it, not bring back civility, justice, equality, and the presence and power of Almighty God. And I believe that people I am banking, and you can say, Pastor Manny, you shouldn't do that. That's not of God. Well, it is. But I'm banking and praying that Eric Adams, Barack Obama, Al Sharpton, T.D. Jakes are on video, and that the district attorney for the Southern District has got that. And ultimately, it's going to be either mentioned and trial as a witness, or they're going to testify against, and which will make my argument. Imagine this, if I could stand before the world and say Obama participated in a freak out with men, with T.D. Jakes, with Tyler Perry, with Al Sharpton. Imagine if I could say that the court records indicate that Obama, Puff Daddy, T.D. Jakes, Eric Adams, Al Sharpton, Tyler Perry, and a bunch of others, including Jay-Z, Beyonce, but they're all involved. They're all involved. At that point, and perchance that might be the reason why, there is my leaning now to run for the mayor of the city of New York, because we're going to find out all this filth that's been going on, especially among black people. Black people have gotten filthy. 1,000 bottles of baby oil. The way Puff Daddy was kicking Casa Ventura, I hear like a madman. Have you ever seen anybody drag a woman by her hair? Kick her. He had a towel wrapped around his genitals, kicking that woman and dragging that woman down the hotel hallway. Have you ever, do you know, I've hung out with some bad people. Some bad people. I would shoot them just to make sure that it didn't bother me while I'm eating my breakfast. That's how bad they were. But Puff Daddy, the way he was treating Casa Ventura in that hallway, and everybody knows that he'd been doing this to women for years. Yes, he get praise from the press. Imagine, that would be let me tell you something. I would win the office of mayor hands down. So I'm going to watch this case very carefully. And I believe it feeds into my call to become the mayor of the city of New York, that they need somebody like myself. After all of this, man, even after Jimmy Walker and Ed Koch and a bunch of other, David Dinkins and Eric Adams, finally, they need somebody like me to take the helm of they need to restore integrity back in government again. They need me. And so I'm here. We'll see what takes place from now. But boy, I'll tell you, this is something. And they're planning on not letting Combs, Puff Daddy, get out of jail. Make him stay there to the trial. This is really serious business. At any rate, everybody, I'm James Hibbert. I'm the Lord's servant. Don't worry. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.